two concepts that people struggle to understand in grade 10 are the mathematical concepts of domain and range. A domain, capital D of x, simply means all the possible values that the function can have for x. So for example, if we have a straight line, for that straight line, any possible x value is present. From negative infinity right through to positive infinity. So for that particular straight line, if we want to know what the domain is, the domain of x, there's two ways of writing it. In set builder notation, it's x values such that x is an element of the real numbers. So in other words, any real number in this case can be used in this function. If you want to write it in interval notation, it's simply negative infinity through to positive infinity. If we are dealing with a parabola, we can ask ourselves the same question. What is the domain, or in other words, what is the set of possible x values that this function can have? And again, we can have any x function from negative infinity right through to positive infinity. Remembering, of course, that those are x points. So in this case, the domain again is any x value such that x is an element of the real numbers. On the other hand, we might ask, well, what is the range? Now the range applies to y values. So in other words, given a set of x values, what y values can we expect from this graph? So for instance, if this graph here cut the axis at -1, then clearly we can never get a y value greater than -1. So in this case, the range is all y values such that y is less than or equal to -1, and y is element of the real numbers. In interval notation, it's going to be -1 to negative infinity. Actually, it's the other way around. It goes from negative infinity up to -1. And of course, -1 is included. If we look at your standard hyperbola, in this case, because the general equation of hyperbola is y is equal to a divided by x plus q, we immediately see that while we may have any x value from negative infinity and we can have positive x values, there's only one x value we cannot have, and that's x is equal to 0. We can never have x equal to 0 because there we are dividing by a 0 number. We can't do that. So in this case, for this hyperbola, the domain is again x element of the real numbers, but x not equal to 0. And the range is exactly the same. So it's y values, y element of the real numbers, but y never equal to 0. On this coordinate system, we have the slightly more complicated function where we have y equal to a divided by x plus 1. The graph is shifted up 1 in the y direction, and in this case again, our domain doesn't change. But our range changes slightly because now we can have y equal to 0, but we can't have y equal to 1 because that is the asymptote. So in this case, our range will be y equal to y values, y element of a real numbers, but y not equal to 1.